Hello viewers, Dan Darkfire here, and I decided it was about time for another, well, more than about time, far past about time, for another RS Progress. I'm sorry if I don't sound too optimistic. I don't feel well this evening. Now, let's see what I've been getting on with in RuneScape. I've sort of slipped past my goal of using the Queen Black Dragon for money. You're still here. I reported you 4 hours ago. That's what pisses me off with Jagex. I have been going to Frost Dragons. All of the time I spent trying to get this chaotic ball, which is exceedingly helpful right now, I ended up one level off Frost Dragons, and I found out it's about 1.5 to 2 mil an hour for me. I'm gonna smack this pirate. Now, there is a reason why I can't do the Queen Black Dragon. I mean, I am a bit lazy, and it is a bit click intensive, is a phrase I like to use. So I can't really have something on a second monitor to make the training seem like it's going faster. The main reason is, 1 times out of 3 or 4, I wouldn't be able to kill it with them all in super anti-fires. I'd run out of food. I am using Rocktail and level 70 armor and a ball and super anti-fires, and super attack, strength, defense, and piety, and protect from melee. Melee, I think, being the most damaging thing. The problem is, what I really need is Soul Split, and I don't have it. And I can't get the money for Soul Split at the Queen Black Dragon, so it has to be somewhere else. For Soul Split, obviously, I need to do the temple at Center's Den. And I have been going through quite a lot of quests lately. And I also need approximately 44 mil from the prayer level I'm at now, 73, to the 92 I need for Soul Split. I'm hoping it's going to be useful enough, and it's going to replace Protect from Melee very well. I'm making this money for something else at the moment first, though. I'm trying just 3 mil to finish the herb lore. It's very quick because I use adrenaline potions now, because I'll just make the money. Herb lore is very expensive, but seeing as I'm only going to want a couple of levels for a fair while, I mean, until I've made like 64 mil for Turmoil on Prayer, I don't need to worry about the 200, 300 mil that I'm going to need to spend on herb lore. I already know exactly how I'm going to do herb lore. Whether I'm going to change my mind or not is a different story. Prayer is going to be short and sweet. It'll be Dragon Bones on a gilded altar, which I've decided I'm not going to bother making for myself. I will use someone else's altar. I am going to have to go and figure out what's the official altar running world. Now, what else do I have to talk about? I've been getting on with Recipe for Disaster. I have 2 requirements left to finish it. Chapter 10, the Leniomancer bit. I need to go and do Desert Treasure, which I can't be asked right now. And I need to get 176 quest points, so that's a good 10 more quests. There is something I'm quite excited for that's coming probably as an optimist, I think it will come within a week, because of the way Jagex have presented it. Rune long, sword, drop. Pew. The World Wakes, the new Gothics themed quest. I am lagging. No. The World Wakes has a sort of a systematic trailer, but Jagex have called it the History of Gielinor. It is very entertaining, even if you know all of the history. I do wonder how, if they can put that much effort into one video, why can't they make the entirety of RuneScape look good? It may be a lot less simple than that. Or the much more less likely option, they are trying to advertise their game, which they need to do. I always have seemed quite positive about Jagex, I think, but there are things that piss me off. They aren't the things that piss everybody else off, but nonetheless. Most people hate probably 95% of the RuneScape updates. I like nearly all of them. The way I look at it is, an update can be good, it's just it could have been done better, however required more time. The Elder Kiln I don't think could have been improved, but we'll use it as an example. The Elder Kiln quest I did a month ago, maybe 2, and that was quite fun. I can't think of anything that could have improved it very much, because I enjoyed it quite a lot. But it was still a good update, even if it could have been better. That's my thing. Frost Dragon Bones. No, don't pick that up. Also, there are the updates that just aren't good. Like clan avatars. It's just, I don't like clan avatars. I do like citadels. There is a massive issue with the way citadels were done though, and that's just, you need a massive clan to maintain one, and that is a lot of bigger problem than it sounds, even though most people who play RuneScape understand the meaning behind such a point. What else? I dislike how some of the game's graphics can be so good, yet others be so bad. I mean, one thing that bothers me, this is supposed to be a proper professional game, but we have things like my cape cropping through the back of my armour. I know it's small, but something like that just shouldn't happen, and even if it does, it shouldn't be in the game for this long. I find it a little bit almost inexcusable. I've got to be missing a reason behind it. I remember for quite a long time Zamorakian spears would just float in the air when you held one in combat stance, you know, when fighting something. There are things that bother me as well. Jagex obviously have already increased the standard of the quests they produce, and now the quests that come out of are much higher quality. I mean, basic quests pissed me off, but, you know, they're supposed to. But quests that are long and complicated but look nice and are cool and have a backstory worth listening to, fair enough. I'm going to let's say half the recipe for disaster quests. They could be done today so much better, but they're not. They're in such a lame looking area. I mean, Monkey Madness is presented fairly well. I mean, it has a good story, but it could just look so much better. The monkey that you become with the Gree in Monkey Madness just looks almost like a sphere, and everything should just look so much better. I realised, to be honest, it almost can't be done because, well, it could, but then Jagex is steering away from other updates that they have to be bringing in, and they simply don't have the manpower to redo all the quests. One every couple of months, like they have been doing, it's all fine and dandy. At the rate they are improving, it's going to take years for RuneScape to look like a massive standard game. What else pisses me off? Not much else regarding RuneScape. I mean, there are a couple of things in like the mechanics of things, like Mage has a fairly cheap level 75 armor and range and magic don't, but I consider that almost minuscule. I mean, it might be more expensive than I'm thinking of as. I'm talking about Ganodermic, by the way. Now, what else do I have to talk about? I'm going to look at my stats and figure it out. 90 magic. I reached 90 magic. That's fairly important. Fairly important to me anyway. I still have range to get back to. I still haven't finished all the stats for all the quests. But that's because the ones that are left piss me off. Smithing is the easiest, and that's still fairly annoying. Especially since it's for one quest. 6 levels for one quest that doesn't reward very much. I think I figured out why I wanted to complete all the quests. Yet, some of them not being requirements for anything and not unlocking anything useful. I think I get lost sometimes with all the quests I have completed, I haven't completed. I don't want to have them all out of the way because I dislike them. Some of the quests are okay. I'm going to have a look at the questy bit of the tab thing, the notice board, and go through all the quests and what I think of them. Right, now you're dead, I'll take your bones, teleport away, and we'll look at this. We could have a little look at my bank, see if I'm not getting anything interesting. Open notice board. Quests. Biohazard Black Knight's Fortress. Demon Slayer. What they did with Demon Slayer I liked. I mean, they made it easier in the respect that it was less tedious. Well, tediously boring. I mean, the old one was much harder, and it kind of should have been at that difficulty. And the demon should probably be stronger. I mean, it did hit 6,000 on me, but still, the new quest looks quite nice. If yours has been reset, then I suggest you go and do it. It's not very long, and you're gonna be able to do it with quite a fairly low combat level. Soul Hearts and Diamond in the Rough, I just kind of don't like the character Rosa. I don't know what it is. I feel like there wasn't much thought put into him, almost. I mean, he has a backstory, but I don't know, his personality almost bothers me, and his name is just kind of boring. Just his name and personality. He looks fairly nice. And when we get to Rune Mysteries and Rune Memories, I quite enjoyed those quests. I kind of like the character Ariane. I mean, yeah, I suppose there's nothing wrong with those. Pirate's Treasure, I can't remember for the life of me what happens in that. Is it the one where you have to take that Freeman's Ale off Karanja? You can't teleport because it'll smash, you have to smuggle it in bananas? I don't know. Right, other quests can be quite boring, such as... oh, Song from the Depths, that was badass. I mean, the puzzles were a little... I mean, they should be complicated, even possibly more complicated than that, but the puzzles might have been a bit too hard for a novice quest. Also, I think I found the puzzles, like, to almost not really make sense. I mean, you're supposed to be listening to her songs in order to figure out what you're supposed to be doing, and it's quite a nice idea. There should have been a replay button instead of walking in and out the door to re-hear what she sings. That's kind of weird. I mean, some people might find these quests a bit lame or boring. I like them. What's Mine Is Yours. There was quite a weird part in that. I mean, I kind of liked it, but I don't know, I think I just dislike when quests are less serious. I mean, there has to be less serious quests. I do feel quite weird and unexplainably uncomfortable just doing quests. I mean, the time you spend doing them is just like grinding a skill. But it's a bit fiddly. Like, I don't know, a little bit like when you first play Pyramid Plunder. It's just all feels weird. Big Chompy Bird Hunting, I only did that 2 days ago, and that was a cool quest. I don't know why. I like that. I sort of like that hunting aspect. My only problem was it was hunting some of the birds in related quests. You're just standing too long waiting, it's too boring. The golem, my only problem with that is the golem looks so shit. It looks like it was made in like 1997 and it was copied and pasted from the game, built in like the First World War. Merlin's Crystal in its series, I do like that. I hate it when things like, what was it, the Black Knight awesome dude that stands on a bridge looks so shitey, and the island looks so shitey. I almost feel like, yeah, I feel like they should be more engaging. They have a good enough story. I think people underestimate the audio sometimes. It annoys some people, but as the kind of people RuneScapers are, they've adapted to what RuneScape is, and now Jagex are trying to change it into a different game. I mean, it's better, but it's different from what the current RuneScapers want to play. I mean, they've filtered out some RuneScapers that won't adapt and just want the old game. Whereas some people have stuck around like myself. I'm open to improvement, and I think, and in my personal opinion, the game just improves. It doesn't get worse, or at least an update hasn't been released that's bad enough that I think less of the game. I mean, clan avatars are a good idea, I just can't think of why they could have been implemented well. I only know about them from watching podcasts, and I think there was a behind the scenes on them. And the mechanics of them, they just seem fairly poor, like only one person can have them, and people have complained. Shadow of the Storm was a cool quest. I mean, I can't keep talking about all the quests. Spirit of Summer and Summer's End were cool. But they could just look a bit better. I mean, they're 2008 now. Tree Gnome Village and the Grand Tree were fairly cool. I kind of like them. Especially since all of the area and all that was sort of nice. I like gnome mazy shit. Waterfall Quest was kind of cool as well. I don't know how, without a quest guide, anybody would have been able to figure out to put those 3 different runes on the pillars. It must have been figured out by someone. I mean, you're supposed to have read the book and figured out that, oh, these elements they can control relate to the runes. Maybe I'll need some runes. And it's, damn, how do I get this platform to rise? There's pillars here. Maybe I use something? No. What if I put 3 of each different? No. I just put... it's kind of like that. And it might be one of those kind of puzzles which you'd overthink. What lies below? What was that? Zaf. Oh. It was that quest. I have nothing negative to say about that quest. I mean, if Varrock was reworked, which I think it probably will be in this year, or it really, really should be, then it'd be a perfect quest. What lies below? Witch's House? Dragon Slayer. Now, what to say about Dragon Slayer? Although it's a bit lame, I like that they had this riddle for it. I mean, I didn't sit around and figure it out because it would take too long. It's weird that they've got to have these riddles for you to figure out, but they can't make the riddles unique and interesting very easily. And on top of that, to make it not tedious to do without a guide is just cutthroat fucking, well, impossible in some people's eyes. Impossible to cope with. Family Crest, I don't know why I like that. That was a nice quest. Freeminic Isles. I kind of find the idea of dressing up as a jester and listening in on a conversation a bit lame. But there's gotta be a couple of lame quests. I mean, there's 199 and World Wakes is going to be the 200th. Hero's Quest. What did you have to do? It's experience and you had to get these 3 things. Virtually the same as Dragon Slayer. Hero's Quest really pissed me off. So much. Finding that noob and trying to figure out what to do. I mean, by comparison to me, he might have been a noob, but maybe I'm a noob because I should have done this quest at the total level he was, which was like 1,600. I was so happy when it was finally done, I actually gave him a mil out of my 6 mil cash stack. I don't know why, and he was like, oh, that's quite nice of you, thanks. I was like, oh. And the way he responded, I thought he'd be more happy. Maybe he was, but he didn't want to sound sappy. Or maybe he was happy that I gave him a mil, because that's still some time, but getting money is easier now, which it is. But low levels begging contradicts that. Unless low level beggars are actually being given 100k and 1 mil and 4 mil by people who aren't using money. Or from the deep. I can't remember doing it very well. I think it was lame. King's Ransom, what happened in that? It could be graphically really worked, but other than that, it was good. Lost City. That was cool. It had a nice backstory, like you can't take any weapons with you, so you have to use magic. It's interesting that you're this alright, it's not mid-level to these standards, but you're there, you've got your 60 attack, you want to go and get your D long. Alright, you should be getting your D skim in the old game, but they're the same weapon now, but different styles. Slash and stab? Yeah. No, they might both be stats, but that doesn't matter. It's interesting that to get this melee sword you have to go and do magic. I mean, it's no point being worthy of it melee-wise, because there's a 60 attack, and if you need a decent melee stats to do the quest, then it's a bit redundant. So I liked it that you had to be using magic. I mean, if you were top of the range and you just hadn't done the quest because, I don't know, you used a D-skim, then with your decent combat stats you can kill it with the hatchet. Drops on the floor. Maybe an offhand hatchet if it exists, which it probably doesn't. But other than that, I like that quest. I did Lunar Diplomacy a couple of days ago. I like most aspects of it. Oh, them stupid games. Those games were a bit lame, and I found it a bit cheesy. I found it a nice concept that you had to fight yourself at the same time. That should have been like a strategic battle. I mean, the clone of me was just weaker than me. By far. I was using magic when I did that quest because I loved my subjugation robes, which I sold a couple of days ago. But those games at the end, it seemed quite cheesy that you'd have this epiphany like, oh, you need to be able to comprehend what others are trying to explain so you can learn about your inner self. I mean, it's nice for them to try and say something like that, and it's a nice theme to the quest that, like, these enlightened mages, and you need to go inside yourself, in order to be able to hone your magic skills, but they just did it so lamely with these games. Like, the dice, fair enough, there's a kind of real-world application to it in the 14th century. They should do the games differently. One small favour. I sort of like how it's that one tedious quest. That's more or less it. I mean, it's not fun at all, but I sort of like how it's this one tedious quest. There has to be a couple of those. Shiloh Village. Can't remember what you have to do there. I know I'm sort of wasting a bit of time and this is going to be a bit long, but I'll just read it. Oh, I remember that. I think I like that quest. I just didn't enjoy all the running around Karamja. If Karamja looked a lot better, it would have been a lot more fun, but otherwise, well. Underground Pass. That pissed me off a lot because when I did that, my agility was 45. About 3 years ago, with my combat stat. I could tell you a funny story about Underground Pass. I was doing it on my dad's old laptop at least 3 years ago, and I was a lowly noob of probably level 50. I don't know, I was probably using a Dragon Long on full rune, and I had my, it probably would have been Monkfish, taking on this before EOC, and as soon as I step in there, into the room to fight Iban, I suppose it's on a Zamrock, then I just got 1 FPS, and I thought I was going to die, but I prevailed. I thought maybe I was a bit too strong to be doing that quest. convenient that I was a bit stronger. I should be let off because I didn't know I was going to have the 1 FPS. I mean, it wasn't like freezing. I could, in fact, spam the monkfish in my inventory, and somehow I did it. Maybe he just had a stupidly low health. But I emerged victorious. I did hear a load of explosions, like pew, 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 and that's probably what killed my 3 trillion year old dad's laptop. That laptop broke 2 years ago. Troll Stronghold. I remember what happened there. It could look better, but otherwise, it's fine. Elderkill. That is a good quest. The newer quests are good. The Elderkill, the Rune Mysteries and Rune Memories, and Song from the Depths. I mean, the other new ones are good as well, but those are ones I particularly enjoyed. 10% increase against lava and sitting creatures. Interesting. I thought it was just that crit. Monkey Madness. That really needs to look better. I did it a couple of days ago, and I can't remember whether... Yeah, I did it for Recipe for Disaster. Regicide. I enjoyed exploring the new land, but it just should have looked so much better. I liked going back home to talk to this chemist and get the bomb. I don't like how nobody would have been able to figure out how to use that, I don't know, fractional distillation machine without using a guide, unless you use it for 30 minutes and use 3,000 coal. Well, that is a nice quest. It just needs to be graphically reworked, same as nearly all of them. Nomad's Requiem. My problem with that is the boss fight was too easy. I think all the quest boss fights are easy at close to maxed combat. I mean, combat level's low, but not my combat capabilities because I'm missing overloads and curses and that other thing. What's that other thing? The highest equipment. But I did that. Yeah, I did that with a more Bandos. No, I did it with Barrow's armor. And inventory full of Rocktail, super attack, strength, defense. I ate 1 Rocktail during that fight. I anticipated such an epic fight. I thought I was going to die during that fight. I didn't. Interesting side note, I spent all the zeal on prayer, and I went up from 70 to 72 prayer to go up from total level 1998 to 2000. This happened about a week ago. And I thought, ooh, I just completed this Grandmaster quest and I've hit this new milestone. That's quite a nice moment for me. I did check the stats of the Soul Wars cape and have done a few times, and it is still terrible. I can't remember if it has a better prayer bonus or something, but I'm not sure what purpose a better prayer bonus serves now. Probably something, but wearing proselyte armor now when the armor you wear is more significantly important. Yeah. Recipe for Disaster. I like it, it just needs a graphical rework. And I don't want to do Desert Treasure to do it. That's more or less all I have to say. I thought that already ran out. And this guy's upset because he only got to round 55. I really need to try it again, but I can't be arsed. I probably could do it now. Now I have a maul and it's easier. I did die at the Jad using range because I couldn't kill the minions because they changed it, so if they're standing next to it they will always heal it or something like that, and I simply couldn't get its damage down enough. I might be able to be able to ignore the minions, but I'd have to be using a maul. I don't know how significant that less amount of protection would be. I mean, armor is more significant, and I don't think I buffed the Fight Cave creatures. I don't know how significant prayer is, so I could just melee all the stupid birds. And this is 70 armor, I was using 65 armor, this is a better weapon. I mean, what was it called? We don't have regenerate anymore. I mean, It's not 10 inventory fulls of foods and beyond anymore. You probably still count for not eating like 3 rocktail every 8 waves, approximately. So it would probably still be useful. And you wouldn't be using ultimates on the creatures in there because they're weak. They're all weak. It's just the Jad heals too fast. I'd like to point out how much I've grown fond of this toggle, so I suggest to any aspiring combat era to go and get one. If you're watching this, that includes you, Josh. It's pretty helpful if you're not going to use a Ring of Wealth, you use that. The crit is fairly good and stacked on top of things like the Glory, and if you're using magic, an Arcane String Necklace, and if you really aren't fussed about Defensive Godwall's Cape, you would have a crit of 8.9. That's pretty cool. That's like a crit every 12 hits. It's just nice to see that massive crit. Let's see what it is. 7.4. What are you doing? I still don't get these bars. Defending 1224. Then what's this? Armor rating 1560. What's all this? Oh well. I'm pretty sure that's all I have to say on the matter. Let's do a little recap in case you fell asleep halfway through. What I'm doing next is, as soon as World Wakes comes out, I'm doing that. Probably in this gear, because it's good enough for Nomad. And all you need is 140 combat, so whatever's combat's in there should be easy. And it'll be really, really fun, and I might record it. I'm really, really sorry if I don't record it, but I like to do things like that by myself. Right, I'm making 4 mil. That won't take too long. That's a few hours, couple of 3 hours to get the 85 herbal ore. I can start making plenty of super anti-fires, and I can get the money from Frost Dragons until I have Soul Split, and depending on how absorbed I am into RuneScape, and if I have a lot of time, and if I want to watch something else, I might switch between lots of money and tedious, boring. It's not tediously boring, but I soon do Frost Dragons because I can watch something else. That's just how RuneScape works for me and everyone else. I might go for 95 prayer. That's 64 mil, and that. Oh, I need to do the quest Temple at Centistan and like 4 others. No, 8 others, so I can go and do it. I think Josh told me I needed to do Legends quest as well. I think it includes about 4 to 6 masters. I'm looking forward to a couple of those. Well, I think one of them, at least one of them, is going to be tediously boring. And Temple at Centistan, for something so awesome, is likely not going to fill me with joy either. That's essentially all I have to say for the moment. I apologise to myself for how long the video is, because now I require a whole evening to upload it. And goodbye, and thank you for listening, or watching. I mean, there was nothing to watch, but so thank you for listening. Goodbye.